Hello there, I'm Jeanette Lane, a craft designer at CraftStash, and in today's video, I'm sharing how to make this wolf and moon card using the Creative Dies Mendy collection. Now, this is a very intricate and ornate set of products. You're gonna fall in love with the designs. They're perfect for coloring, for embossing. They're so nice when they're just stamped in just black ink. Like, you're gonna be really impressed with these. And it's a stamp and die combo, so it comes with one focal stamp and then some coordinating dies. So I'm really excited to show you how to make this card because I'm also gonna be doing a little bit of glow in the dark heat embossing. So I'm really excited about that. So let's get started. So for today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how to make this embossed card, and it actually glows in the dark. So I did a little bit of partial die cutting, a little bit of emboss resisting, a little bit, lots of stamping. So I'm really excited about this because there's so many techniques involved in this card, but it turned out really well because for my embossing, I ended up using some WOW embossing powders. I'm using the glow in the dark because this does glow in the dark, so I'm really excited about that. But we have quite a selection of WOW products on the CraftStash website. So we have flocking, this is violet flock, and then we have these gorgeous metallic gold powders, which I do love a good metallic gold powder. And there's also some glitters. There's so much more, but what I love about WOW embossing products is that you can really mix and match and kind of do your own sort of powders. So if you want to get like a sparkly effect along with the glow in the dark color, you can definitely do that. You can mix those two together and it'll be glow in the dark and sparkly, which is really cool. So what I'm going to be doing now is just getting all of my embossing out of the way. I don't know about you, but sometimes embossing can be a little bit intimidating. So I want to get that done and then move on to my die cutting. But for my stamp, I'm going to be using the Wolf and Moon Mendy collection. So I'm going to use the stamps and the coordinating stamps and dies. And here I have mounted my little fox. Did I say fox? I hope I didn't say fox. I meant wolf. So I'm gonna I've mounted my wolf onto my block, and you'd be surprised, even though these stamps are a little bit on the larger side, you don't need a stamping platform. I've been working with just an acrylic block and I've got great results. So no stamping platform required for these stamps. And for my embossing ink, I'm using Nuvo Clear Mark embossing pad, which is one of my favorites. And I would love to know what your favorite embossing ink is, because, you know, as crafters, it's always good to know what's out there and what works for people. So if you would let me know what your favorite embossing pad is, if you have a moment, I would love to hear from you and learn a little bit more about you. So I've sprinkled the glow-in-the-dark powder on top, and it has sort of a yellow, greenish, like neon kind of hue to it. But we're not gonna be able to see it too clearly on camera, and now I'm just saving this excess. Now what I love about embossing is that while you do sprinkle a lot on each project that you do, you don't use up a lot. So this can last you a very long time, like months and months on end, because you don't end up using a lot and you always save the excess. So now I'm gonna take my heated tool and melt the powder. There you can see the embossing. I know it's really hard to see, but yeah, there's my little wolf. He is so cute and so ornate. Now it's time to stamp my moon. So here I have this piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to ink up this moon. This is probably the most beautiful moon I have ever seen in my life. The design is absolutely stunning. Here are my embossed images. I know you can't see them, but I'm gonna be pairing these images. Gonna put a little ink on top of these. I'm gonna be using the, let's see, what color did I want? I stored the wrong color in the wrong case, in the wrong packaging. Whoops. So this one goes over here. There we go. That was a little confusing. So I'm going to be using the Sheena Douglas sparkle pens, and this is Chilled Ocean. And what I'm going to do is go right over my image And as I do that, you'll see the intricate design of these Mendy Collection stamps. It's so beautiful. Oh, it's stunning. And then we're going to die cut these with the coordinating die in just a bit. These pens are really fun because these colors are very vibrant, and also the color is in the barrel, in case you're wondering where that color is coming from. So the color, the paint is in the barrel of the marker, and it has like a shimmer to it, a glittery shimmer to it. And these are so pigmented and vibrant and bold, and they just create like a really striking effect. And that's what I wanted for my little wolf. I wanted him to really pop on my card. And in case you're wondering, this will not hinder the glow in the dark effect, so you're fine there. And also I colored outside the lines because I'm going to use my coordinating die in just a bit to die cut this out. Now for the moon, I'm gonna use, let's see what color this is. This is the Golden Sun color. I love doing emboss resisting. It's really magical and mesmerizing to look at. So emboss resisting, in case you're not familiar with that, it's when you just add some ink of some sort on top of clear embossing or white embossing, or in this case, glow in the dark embossing. So let me set these aside so that they can dry, and then I'll die cut those in just a bit, and then I can move on to creating my card base. So I've put my pens away in the right packaging this time, hooray. And now I'm gonna grab my Sizzix Foldaway machine, and I'm gonna grab my little corresponding die for my wolf, and I'm going to die cut him and set him aside so that I can move on to creating my card base. Now for my card base, I'm starting off with a piece of A4 sized cardstock, and I'm gonna trim this just at the width to 13.5 centimeters. All right. Next, I have my hunky-dory adorable scoreboard, and I'm going to take my card and score this at 4.5 inches. So here's my card, and here's the score line, and then I'm gonna grab my wolf die, and I'm going to partially die cut him. So what I'm gonna do is, I want his paws almost all the way to the bottom, and what I'm gonna do is put my usual die cutting sandwich, but I'm not gonna die cut this part, so this part will not be in the sandwich. So you'll see what I mean in just a bit, because you want just the top part to cut so that he pops up. So let me just put this through, and you're gonna see what I mean in just a minute. So if you notice, I've moved my platform to just right about where his tail is, and then I'm gonna grab my second cutting pad and put that on top and make sure everything is lined up. You really wanna take your time with this step, because you wanna make sure that you are just getting a good partial die cut, because it's very easy to mess up. So that's what it looks like. As you can see, his legs are hanging off. A little bit of his tail is still there, and this is where my platform ends, so right here. So this part here will not get any pressure from the machine, and it's not gonna cut. It's just gonna be the upper half of his body. And there you can see the partial die cut. Super easy. And now what we're gonna do is just fold this so that my little wolf is popping up, kind of pinch it a little bit. I might have to score this, but I wanna make sure that this edge here matches this edge over here. Okay, so there is my card, and that's what it looks like, kind of stands up with the little wolfie popping out. But what I did was just tuck my fingers behind and create and fold a crease. And I can go back and use a scoreboard to make sure my lines are a little bit more crisp and clear. But what happens is that creates this little stand-up element, this 3D card that kind of pops up. I love this card because it's really easy and it stands up on its own. And you can try this partial die cutting technique with any die. I just felt like it worked really well with the wolf. Okay, so now I'm gonna open my card up, and I'm going to work on my pattern background, and I'm gonna grab this little stamp here, which coordinates with the center of the moon, but I'm gonna use it to create a pattern background, like a repeating background. Actually, I don't need to do the whole card, just this little section here. So what I'm gonna do is I've mounted my stamp and I'm just gonna start stamping a pattern. And this is what I love about stamping, because sometimes I don't quite have the paper that I need or the pattern that I need, but then if I have a stamp set that has an element that can be repeated like multiple times, it just works so well. And for my ink, I'm using VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. And it's okay if I stamp over my wolf, because I'm just going to put that little overlay on top, so that layer on top, so that's gonna be okay if you stamp over your little wolfy friend. And I'm going to stamp all the way to the bottom. And if you'll notice, I'm stamping right off of the edge. I feel like this makes it look like it's truly patterned paper that you bought at the store. For some reason, doing repeated patterns like this with stamping, like just basic repeated patterns, is really relaxing for me. I don't know if you can relate, but just stamping an image over and over, it's just something therapeutic about it. All right, so I'm really loving this pattern. I don't know, I think that's a really great card, and you can just add a sentiment. It's just really elegant. Since I have my Wow embossing powders here to play with, I wanted to add a little bit of flocking to this. Now, there's several ways to add flocking. You can mix it with the bonding powder by Wow, or an embossing powder by Wow, and then just mix those two together. So you could do this one and maybe the violet pearl powder and mix those two together to get an embossed effect, and just use that with, you know, regular embossing, an ink pad, embossing ink pad, or you can use adhesive of some kind like PVA glue or double-sided red liner tape, and I love this stuff. So what I'm gonna do is just do a little bit of like crisscross zigs of my tape just along the bottom, and I want to add just a little touch of purple flock to this project. I don't know, I felt like it would be a nice touch. You can also use the sparkle glitters with this tape as well as the other embossing powders, but you do have to heat set them, and you want to make sure that you're using a heat resistant adhesive and a heat resistant adhesive tape. And this tape works well, like when you heat it up, it doesn't bubble or curl or anything of that sort. So here's my flock, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top of my adhesive and then shake off the excess. There you can see the flock has settled onto the adhesive, and I'm gonna just heat this a little bit so that it can dry and set. So here is the flocking up close, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's a little bit fuzzy. So it's fuzzy to the touch, and just another great way to add some fun texture to your projects. And if you want to do flocking, flocking I think is really perfect for like Christmas projects when you're doing flocking in white and adding like snowy details, because you can use like liquid adhesive, you can use PVA glue along with your flocking powder to just add like white little snowy textured effects throughout your cards. But yeah, this is really fun. I like touching the flock. It's so soft. All right, I think I'm having too much fun with this flock. It's so soft. And now I'm gonna move on, and the next step is to mount my die cuts onto my card base with a little bit of foam tape. All right, so there is my foam tape. Now let me just remove the release papers, and I can mount this onto my card. So I'll put my moon here in the corner, and then my little wolf. I wonder if I said fox throughout the video. I do apologize. I have foxes on my brain because there is a little pack? Is it a pack of foxes or a litter of foxes that sometimes come visit my backyard or the back parking lot of where I live, and I just am mesmerized by them. They are adorable little pups, and so I'm just always thinking about foxes. Now for my sentiment, I'm using the Crafty Words collection, and this is the Congratulations 2-in-1 die and stamp combo. And I love the sentiments. I love the die at the bottom of the main focal sentiment, but I love these little sayings at the bottom because you can just mix and match the sentiments, and they're just really great. And I love just the basic font, and so I wanted to use You're the Best for my sentiment. And then I'm just gonna trim this up and mount it onto my card with some foam tape. Okay, I've trimmed up my sentiment and now I'm going to take a pen and do a little bit of outlining. I changed my mind at the last minute. I was just going to mount it like that, but I feel like the outlining in black pen just adds a little bit of character, another little handmade touch to it because it's not a perfect line. But it just, I don't know, I feel like it adds character. So there is my sentiment, and I'm just gonna grab a piece of foam tape. Okay, so there is my sentiment mounted on there, a little bit of flocking, a little bit of glow in the dark action, and we are done with our card. I hope that you enjoyed that tutorial and that you take a moment to check out the Creative Dies Mendy Collection range on the CraftStash website. It's an exclusive brand and range to CraftStash, so you're not going to find it anywhere else. And also take a moment to look at those wow products on the CraftStash website as well. We have quite a bit, and there's so much you can do with them. It's not just, you know, the glow-in-the-dark embossing powders or the flock powders. There's so much more, so be sure to check out that range, and I will have all the links for you below to make it easy for you. I'm Jeanette Lane, and I will see you very soon.